Hey everyone, welcome back to E-Skillation. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on my channel. In today's video, we are going to explore one of Python's most interesting and versatile data structures, that is tuples. By the end of this video, you will understand what tuples are, how to use them, and when to choose tuples over other data structures. So let's dive in. What exactly is a tuple? In Python, a tuple is an ordered, immutable collection of elements. That means once you create a tuple, you can't change its contents. Tuples are almost similar to lists in Python, where lists are mutable and can be modified after creation. However, tuples are immutable and also does not allow any modifications after creation. So the syntax is also almost similar, but instead of square brackets, we use round brackets. Here, we have created a tuple named new tuple with a few elements in it. When we print this, we see it in round brackets, and that's when we can also identify that this is a tuple. Some of the features are exactly same as in lists. The count of items depends on your hardware. There is no restriction on the number of items that applies to tuples as well. No restrictions on data types inside a tuple. We can include a list, dictionary, another tuple also inside a tuple. Lastly, indexes also work the same way it does in lists, where we can use positive indexes to fetch the items from left to right and negative ones to get items from right to left. Now let's talk about mutability. For this illustration and clear your doubts between a list and a tuple, let me create a list with similar items in it and call it as new list. As we know, lists are mutable, which means it will avoid creating a new object in memory until the whole list is assigned values again. If you notice, it will create a new object even when we recreate exact same list again, which means it will allow changes to the existing list, but if any value is assigned to the variable apart from editing the values in it, it will create it as a new object. Now when I try and update one of the values inside the list, it will consider the change and does update the existing object itself. Similarly, we can perform operations like adding a new item, deleting items from it, etc. But however, in tuples, it does not allow any of these operations. In other words, it will not support any change to a tuple once created. The only thing that could be done is recreating it with new values if required. And that's the big and a very important difference between list and tuple. This feature of immutability can be very helpful in scenarios where you want to ensure that the data remains constant throughout the life of the program. Eventually, as a programmer, you will create huge programs and collaborate with multiple other developers on the same code. What if you want to create a bunch of items which should not be edited in any other part of the code? And these data, for example, could be like coordinates or RGB colors, etc. There's another use case of a tuple which you can use it while you create functions. Let me create a simple function that takes two values as parameters and performs two simple operations and returns the output of those two operations as two different values. While returning it, I will pack the values to make it a tuple. Now, when we call the function and print the type of the result, we will see it as tuple. The good part about Python here is, even if we do not pack it with round brackets, it will automatically consider the data type as tuple because it's not enclosed with any brackets but separated by a comma. Again, you could also return this as a list, but when returned as lists, you will allow the code to change the values. At this stage, I would request you to try something to replicate this function here and have two scenarios where you return the values as lists and another as a tuple, and try updating one of the values once you get the result. The bottom line being, if you want the values not to be changed and restrict updates from other parts in your program once created, you can always use tuples. Hope that clears the doubt about how tuples are different from lists and when to use this data type. One interesting fact to be known is, if you just use one value in round brackets, it will not be a tuple. Instead, it will be considered as int, string, etc. depending on the value that you include. it should at least be separated by a comma to be considered as tuple. There is another feature on these data types called packing and unpacking. This feature applies to lists as well. As the name suggests, packing is when you pack the items into the tuple, as in, I will just pack some values together separated by comma and either enclose that within brackets or leave it as is. Similarly, unpacking is a method where I will separate these values into multiple variables. For example, this result here is returning two values, so I can assign two different variables that takes the result separately. And likewise, we can pack and unpack as many values as we want. One last thing that you want to keep a note on is, in Python, no matter whether you enclose the values in brackets or not, but if a value or more than one value are separated by a comma, Python will automatically consider the data type as tuple itself. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow Python learners. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials like this and leave a comment down below with any questions or topics you'd like to see next.